Yes.
Yeah, here I
Hello,
am.
everyone. Hi, my name is Anna. I'm the former, let's say, alumni, finance future student who studied and graduated from Manta High School, and currently I'm studying business administration in Alta University. And today I'm one of the two panelists that we have today for this topic. And my fellow panelist is Baby. Do you want to say something
Hello.
first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Vivi. I'm currently head of talent and community at Horizon, a nonprofit that helps internationals in Finland find their careers in tech and startup scene, especially, but beyond that as well.
Yes, perfect. So the topic that we are talking about today is mainly about life beyond the classroom. So we must always think that coming to Finland through Finance Future program is mainly for study, but also we want to emphasize the importance of also the experience and the life beyond those studies lessons. And so today's panel discussion will be in three parts. So, firstly, it will be me sharing my own experience, and then I'll pass the floor to Vivi, and then we will have like a general discussion together. Okay, so should I start first, Vivi? Yes, I will
Yeah,
share my
go ahead.
screen. Can everyone see it now?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. So, yes. So, starting with myself, during the whole 3 years that I had in Manta, I have been uh, participating a lot of events. And since Manta is also quite a small cities. And I myself come from Ho Chi Minh cities from Vietnam, which is like a big cities. I have counted it's like 200 times more populations than Manda. So it's a huge difference that it was. And but I'm so familiar with attending in different activities actively when I were a student in even like secondary school in Vietnam. Therefore, coming to Finland, and I, after a few months of settling in, I also start wondering like where can I still do these type of activities like international activities and very active ones in Finland. Uh, and then the first ever organization that I participate in was by that time the European Youth Parliament. So when you hear about the parliament, it's always the thought of okay, it's something politics, you know. And I also thought at that first, but then after I kind of like take a look at it, and then I participate in their first events. It's usually like an offline event where you there's a conference and you work together with other youths, and I participate in there, and I think that this is very fun. Like is just it like casual stimulation of the European Parliament's work. Yeah, of course, we talk a little bit about politics, you know, about global issues, but it's mainly the most precious part of participating in UIP is that I get the community. So here are all the photos of my time participated in UIP, like in European Youth Parliament. We do events. I first participate, and I also turn to organize these events, and we have like a lot of youth in the same place for a few days, like having fun, talking about topics like very current, hot topic in the world and in Europe, and we also take trips together to Brazil and to other places. It's also like a perfect traveling opportunities. So why am I still talking about EYP? EYP is just one of the examples that I have when I talk about activities outside of the classroom. Apart from that, I also do other events such as Slush, which is like a startup, a big startup event where all the startups, the companies, the investor, every amazing, interesting people come to one place and just networking and just basically do business, but do business in a very innovative way. And the special thing about that is there. volunteering team, which are the one who organize the events. They are all students. So in Finland, I can see this trait in general, that there are actually a lot of organization who that like values the work of students, and they welcome it, and they prioritize the participation of students even instead of like, you know, adults in a way. So there's actually a lot of opportunities. Therefore, besides UIP, besides Slush, I also do like all the entrepreneurship society. Like this is even before I got into Alta, which means that it like is because it's like, even though it's like Alto society, but it's open for also student outside of Alto. And I believe that also for other organization, for other university, they also just open for basically everyone, every student to attend. Doesn't necessary that you are from Alto. And then I also do some very random things, just following my passions, like I do like a dance competition. You know, it's called like most like somebody. We happen to win it, but however, it is like a very fun experience and fun memories. So I just do like random things, and like this, it's just come out of nowhere. And I go to a lot of networking events, just anything that sounds interesting. Then I just go. Like I don't need a friend or anyone. I just go there and meet people and talk, and then the opportunities they just start growing and developing from that. Um, and talking about following my passion, or then these like better word is like my hobbies. My one of my biggest hobby is to participate in, you know, events, networking. So that's why I'm talking about all of this. But it isn't necessary that also you as a student, even if you are, for example, an introvert, more introverted person, or like you don't really like socialize that much, I think it's totally fine. And by, you know, by finding your community, is not just through these big events with a lot of people, but also through hobbies. And I also see that many students, when they come through Finance Future to Finland, they mostly find their community through hobbies. So personally, I dance, I do basketball, I do badminton, I do guitar. And in Manta, though that is the time when the local communities are very much powerful and helpful, because I can play the sport with the students around me in Manta. And then we also schedule some like fun plays, fun badminton plays. And then I also go just to play my guitar in our school's musical room, because they are also open for us. Well, basically anytime that we wish. So I think it's very supportive, the local community, like supportive for your hobbies when you want to pursue them. So yeah, I think all in all, I guess the main focus of this is speaking from my own experience, as the main focus of a student coming to Finland to study in Finnish high school is, at the end of the day, study. But I just, because also, you know, might know that the education in Finland, they also prioritize a lot one student's own development, like personal development. So therefore it is not like they don't even give like a crazy amount of homework. It's like a very decent amount of homework, and sometimes they don't give homework at all. And based so that therefore you have a lot of free time to find your own things to do whatever you like to do. So I think that is a very great thing about Finland, that that you get to do these type of activities. And yeah, you are encouraged by the teachers or your school. Like if you don't know where to go, what to do, you can just go to the teachers and ask for it. And for example, the EVP Finland is, in fact, I find it from my school. So the school kind of like promote these type of activities. So it's super great. And so yeah, make sure that when you come to Finland as a student, I think there's a lot of opportunities, and just make sure that you grab them and you actually participate in whatever that makes you feel you like it, because I think that is, at least for me, a very big part of my experience in Finland so far. So yeah, that is of my sharing. Next, I want to pass the floor to Vivi. So if you want to take over.
Yes. Sure, thank you. I guess I'll have to notify when we can change slides or yeah, okay, perfect. All right, so hi, as said, I'm Vivi, and something I didn't say in my introduction at the start of this session is that I have a background in global recruitment and HR, and so that's where a lot of my views come from. Um, and I have specifically been working in the kind of tech startup growth company scene. So just as a nugget of information for you as we go forward. So I very much support, and I think Anna's approach to networking has been a great one. And so some of this will be repetition for you, but hopefully it'll just like kind of like um, kind of iterate that message that there are so many ways to network in Finland. But yeah, so I thought this would be a fun little thing to see. There was this um, one union that did a bit of research about their members last year, and they asked, "How did you find your job, like your latest job?" And I think the results were really interesting, especially considering what kind of a society Finland is, which is very high in trust in every way. So we trust that people follow the same laws, but we also trust like our fellow people. And of course, that trust has to be developed from like somewhere. But yeah, okay, tying into this, like how did people get jobs? So 33% of the respondents say that they contacted the company directly. And I thought what was really interesting about this is that the percentage of people who approached the company directly was higher than the people that applied through open roles. And then 16% of the respondents also said, kind of highlighted having personal contacts as the primary source of their latest job. So this means that they had networks inside the company already that helped them secure that job. Okay, we can move forward. So okay, so this means that okay, networks are really important in Finland. I hear this often. This kind of like finding a job is a numbers game, and I think it comes from this sort of like sales mindset. And I would maybe debunk this as a myth. I would say that, you know, there are definitely roles out there that you can apply to, but I would definitely, with my experience as a recruiter, encourage you to apply to fewer positions, but positions that you have some kind of personal motivation and connection towards. So it doesn't always have to be that, hey, I've done this job before. Let's say that you're looking for a summer job. Maybe you have never worked at an ice cream parlor and you're applying for an ice cream parlor. That's okay. It doesn't have to be that you always have experience from there, but then you can draw other kinds of connections to the jobs that you're applying. But I would definitely kind of spend a moment with researching the company and rather than just kind of mindlessly applying. And we can move forward. And in the kind of theme of trust, authenticity will be a huge theme in my slides here. So there's another kind of a myth that I want to partially bust. So, and that is people who have local friends get jobs. And while this is partially true, of course, that if you have connections already locally, maybe your dad or your friend's uncle or someone has a company and they can hire you for a summer job, it's not the only way to secure a job. Of course, it is a good way. And if you can network with people, like Anna said, like through hobbies, through local communities, through different kinds of associations and groups, then that's really great. But the cool thing is that you can start building these connections from nothing. So it's okay to not come like readily equipped with all of the friends and connections you could ever need. It's definitely a process, and it's a process you can start whenever you decide that, hey, okay, I am ready to go out there into the world and start creating connections. So there are always new ways to develop these, even when you're starting from essentially nothing. We can move forward. Yeah. So, okay. So you're saying like things don't work. Like, what am I supposed to do then? Let's get into it. So, as Anna said, also, I would definitely start with finding the places and spaces where you can be yourself. So, because Finland is a very kind of trust focused society, we also value authenticity because we trust people that we feel like are being authentic with us, they're being genuine. And so, for you to be genuine, of course, you have to find these kind of environments where you can be yourself, whatever that means to you. So, for some ideas to start kind of exploring, and maybe you have to explore a little bit before you find like what kind of communities work the best for you. But you can, of course, start with exploring the conventional choices like nonprofits such as Horizon, or if you're already a little bit older, Mothers in Business, and so on. You can also look into professional communities and peer gatherings. You will usually find these from event platforms like Eventbrite and meetup.com and LinkedIn events and maybe Facebook events as well. So you can always like go out and kind of discover what is out there that I can join. And the good news is that most of these events are free of charge. You can also look outside of these professional groups, and as Anna said, you can, maybe it's a hobby, maybe you're going to attend the events that are happening in your current locale. So even if it's a smaller city or like even a village, there might be something going on. Maybe in the winter there is like grilling sausages and skiing or something. So I very warmly recommend that you go out there and just approach this networking thing from a point of curiosity. You being curious about the people that are there, like what's happening in my area, um, like how could I find new hobbies for myself. I think especially like I know that Finland is often talked about the land of introverts and it's difficult to connect with Finns, but I think Finns are very eager to help as long as they understand like what are you looking for. So if you go to like let's say you go to the skiing event and people are there, they will be very curious about you. And so you can definitely use that to your advantage and you can say, "Hey, I'm new here. Like this is what I'm looking for. Like how often does this event happen? Are there other sports clubs? Are there other events that I should know about that could be fun to join?" So definitely encourage that. Yeah, so definitely I would say explore events that are happening. It's always maybe easier a little bit when you go in person and people can sort of like meet you. And you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to have a pitch going into these things, that just be curious and I think you'll do amazing. And then we can move forward. Yeah. And as said, authenticity and like being like genuine and open about your motivations is warmly recommended because it helps people to develop trust in you. So if you're like, hey, I'm new here, I don't know what's going around and like locally, and I'm looking for a new hobby, I'm looking for new friends, you might find really like surprising connections as well. Or you go to an event and you're like, I'm new here, I'm looking for new friends, I'm also looking for a summer job. Where do you think I should apply? So this like kind of like being curious and being very open and honest will definitely play in your favor. And we are quite informal as a society, so we don't really have like honorifics or so on in our language. Sometimes you might hear this term teitittely. So if it's an elderly person, maybe you'll speak of them in the form of te, so like you in plural, because it's like ultra super polite. But in general, you can be quite informal. And sometimes it might be even quite intimidating because Finns are very direct. So they often address things head on and they might ask you something super directly like, well, where are you from? Or like, what do you think about this? Or like, why are you here? Like, it might feel kind of intimidating, but I encourage you to just like be open and be yourself, rather than trying to maybe please people, and you will do fine. So honesty is valued over agreeableness in general. Of course, be polite, but you don't have to like try to fit yourself to molds that you don't fit. And here, kind of to like highlight my message about like being authentic. So in the screenshot or in the image, you might see two of our most successful Eurovision competitors ever. If you don't know what Eurovision is, it's a Europe-wide music performance competition, and it's very popular in Finland. And these are our two most successful people. So as you can see, they're not maybe very conventional in some ways, but they are beloved by the Finnish people. So I hope this helps you kind of feel comfortable in the fact that there is so much room for you to express yourself in an authentic way in Finland, and still find acceptance and find people who really kind of resonate with who you are. So it goes for your personality as well. And then, yeah, just iterating when you're networking. I think networking is just kind of the process of finding out whether you have something in common. And it could be like you have a common goal. You both want to, maybe you graduate from high school. Maybe you both want to find a job. Maybe you both want to learn Finnish. Or then when you're networking with a Finnish person, maybe you both want to find someone to talk with. Like maybe you're looking for a friend. Maybe you're looking for someone who shares an interest in your hobby. Maybe you also play guitar and they play guitar. So networking is truly just finding common interests. And I encourage you to approach networking from point of curiosity. You're there to learn about the other person, and you're there to learn first and benefit second. So learn first if you have something in common, if you kind of click on a personal level, and then when you kind of have a connection with the person, they can also like kind of help you network further, or like, oh well, my company does have an opening and maybe you could be a fit. So the benefit comes after you've kind of established the connection first. Yeah, and we can move forward. So whether you are still in high school, already graduated, maybe like a newcomer in Finland, I really would recommend that you kind of embody this approach or strategy, which I call building in public. So, what does it mean? It means that you document the activities that you do and the initiatives that you're taking part of. And if you create something tangible, a website, you produced an event, you had a role in some kind of a community initiative, then you document those in your CV and in your LinkedIn if you do have LinkedIn already, because this helps you build a track record. And we see this in job as like demonstrated ability or demonstrated performance or track record in something. And that's just means that you have done something and you can do it again. So that's why it's important, especially for students, that when you take part in these activities and student clubs or initiatives, or you volunteer, that you document them in your profile, in your CV, because it speaks louder than you saying that, hey, I'm an active, motivated, detail oriented person. Because then when you're telling them, hey, I took part in this initiative, I volunteered, I served these many customers, or I was trusted with these responsibilities, it speaks louder than you describing yourself with adjectives. Yeah, and don't forget to give context when you're doing that. And yeah, if you want to connect with me, feel free to do so. And if you would like to join Horizon, it's a non-profit, and everything we do is for free, so there's no payments anywhere. Then feel free to join us. There's a link as well for that. But yeah, that's my part. Thank you so much. And I guess then we have some conversation here.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Vivi. So, I would have questions for you. So, first questions is, if you are to give advice from your side, not just advice, but just, to say something to the international people as like a selling pitch about
Mm.
Finland, why Finland?
Why Finland? Well, I think that the trust factor is one of our greatest strengths, and I actually went in my previous role as a recruiter, and I used to relocate people to Finland. So I used to like hire people from abroad and move them to Finland, and I always asked, "Why are you considering Finland?" And I find that our views of like why Finland is nice are very similar. There's space, both like space physically, but space to be yourself. There is nature and kind of like you being close to nature. If that's something you enjoy, I think it's amazing. It's my calm place. When I feel stressed out, I go to the forest. And I think this is a very Finnish way of managing stress and kind of the pressures of life. And then there's the safety and trust. So in Finland, we have this kind of like trust that everyone follows the same rules, and that creates this safety. So like we all follow the laws and best practices that we've learned, protect us as a society. And so I think these are the key things that make Finland amazing for me and for internationals I've encountered.
Yes, definitely. I completely agree with that. And to adding up from my point, also, I would say, um, not just Finland in specific, but also generally to move abroad. I think it is really mainly the fact that you are stepping out of the common way that you're used to in your home country, and just stepping out and seeing the world from the other side of the globe, and is everything is different, and then you would need to also adjust yourself to the norms in Finland, in here or somewhere else, and that would actually give a lot of growth and insights to one person, at least for me. This is how things work here, but the same thing, it works differently in other countries. So yeah, I think it's a very treasured experience. And also, I completely agree with you about trust, and I think this is something that is, it's just magical in a way, how people can just trust, on default, that they trust in work, in schools. They trust that you are, you do your homework, and that you are studying well. You trust that I give you this responsibility in work, and you complete it well. So yeah, definitely. So yes, next questions. From a recruiter's point of view, because you've been talking a lot about the job market and recruiting, what do you think are the three things that recruiter usually look for in an applicant, regardless of their of what jobs they are applying to?
Right. I would say that they're looking for your motivation, your background where applicable, so your experience, and industry knowledge where it's applicable. Of course, like I said, if you're applying for an ice cream parlor, maybe like it's a plus if you've worked in one before and you understand how things work, but it's not maybe a must. But then the motivation becomes more important. So these three things, I would say, and motivation, you can attach your motivation to so many things. So it can be a motivation for what the company is doing and what they're creating. It can be a motivation towards the role itself. You enjoy, for example, serving people and like making people smile. And I think that's a really valid motivation of like working, for example, in a customer facing role. And then with industry knowledge, of course, when a company is hiring, if I have two identical candidates, let's say that I'm hiring for a social media intern, for example, for Horizon, And I don't expect them to have a lot of experience with social media, at least professionally. But if the candidate is like, hey, I'm an avid user of, let's say, Instagram, and I have my own account where I do um, content about my hobby, and I enjoy the editing process and the concepting process, and they can kind of like spell these things out. It's really great for the recruiter because they understand and they can, again, trust that the person is genuinely interested in what they're applying to do in the role. So I think these are often overlooked, especially in like when we're applying for junior and intern level positions. But your hobbies can actually make a huge difference in the like outcome of the recruitment process. So especially if you've done anything in a like a hobby framework, but it links to somehow to that company, their industry, or the actions you'd be doing in that role, then absolutely you need to kind of like make those things visible so that they can understand that, okay, yes, I get why this person is applying for this role.
Super. That's super useful tips. I can also take those tips to my own career applying. Okay, so final question. This is a quick three again. So three things that you love most about Finland. It can be anything. It can be a small thing, very small thing, a food or something, or very small. But three thing. Period. No explanation. Let's go.
Okay, three things I love that Finland is weird. I I love our nature, and I actually really really love fall because I love rain,
Oh.
and and I love the consistency of
Mm,
Finland.
yeah,
Mm.
that's a good point. Okay, I love the forest. I love salmon, and I love the silence of Finland. Ah,
Oh, those
right?
are really good ones. If I got
Yes.
a fourth one, I would maybe I got inspired. I would say salmiakki. I don't know if you've tasted
No.
it, people listening in, but it's
Yeah.
the
Yeah. I say
lifeblood
I
of
say by my
Finns.
way, but by the way, I say Salomon, not salmiakki. I don't like salmiakki,
I
unfortunately.
know. But salmon soup, if you haven't tasted salmon soup, you need to taste it.
Yes,
It's
yes,
amazing.
definitely. Um, Yes. Okay. So I think that's it for our part today. Thank you very much, Mimi, for coming today. Thank you, everyone, for being here in this very moment. And there's been like questions posting, but unfortunately today we cannot answer the questions. So you can connect to Vivi directly through her QR code that she provided, and also connect directly to myself. And you can ask about anything at all in the world. So yes, thank you very much. You have anything to say? Final words?
No, just thank you from my side as well. Super fun to be here today, and do feel free to connect with me. I'm always open for new connections, and if you had something in your mind that you didn't get answered today, I'm happy to answer you in LinkedIn then. And thank you to Finest Future for organizing this event and supporting people in learning Finnish, because it's tough, but it's not impossible.
Definitely. Bottom line. Yes. Okay.